Something big has happened in Nigeria's political space. A statement that hit the country like thunder. Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele has made a strong claim. A claim many people did not expect. A claim that has already started a fresh storm. He said he supports the call that Nnamdi Kanu should have been sentenced to life imprisonment. No slow talk. No soft message. He said it boldly. He said it clearly. And the country reacted within minutes. From the moment his words came out, everything changed. Politicians started moving. Commentators rushed to share their views. Social media exploded with anger, confusion, and shock. People who had been quiet for months suddenly found their voices again. His statement did not just float into the air. It hit the ground hard. It landed with weight. It carried power. What made this moment so intense was not just what he said, but who said it. Senator Bamidele is not a random voice. He is a senior lawmaker. He is someone who understands how the justice system works. He knows the sensitivity of the case. He knows how emotional and political it is. And that is exactly why his message shook Nigeria. He did not speak like someone thinking aloud. He spoke like someone who had already made up his mind. Someone who believed strongly in the punishment he supported. Someone who wanted the country to hear him clearly, without confusion and without doubt. For many Nigerians, this was the moment they realized the debate around Nnamdi Kanu is far from over. Even after court rulings, appeals, government decisions, and long conversations across the country, the matter continues to burn. The senator's comment poured fresh fuel on a fire that was already hot. The speed of the reactions shows how sensitive this issue is. Some people felt the senator was only saying what they had been thinking quietly. They felt Kanu's actions were too serious, too strong, and too dangerous to be treated lightly. They believed the senator was simply standing for national security. To them, life imprisonment was not too much. It was the only way to maintain order. But another group saw things differently. They felt insulted. They felt targeted. They felt the statement was not fair, not balanced, not helpful in any way. They believed the senator was trying to make things worse at a time when the country needs calm. They believed the justice system was already complicated, and adding this kind of message would only make the tension rise. And then there were people who were neither angry nor supportive, but simply confused. They asked, why make this statement now? What was the senator trying to achieve? Why bring up life imprisonment at a moment when many people are calling for dialogue, peace, and political solutions? Why choose this exact time to add more pressure to an already heated matter? These questions spread quickly. Analysts started digging into the possible reasons behind his comment. Was he trying to send a message to the government? Was he stating a personal opinion? Was he responding to something happening behind the scenes? Was this a sign of a deeper political plan? No one knew for sure. But everyone agreed on one thing. This was not a small statement. It was a political earthquake. As the hours passed, the shock did not fade. It grew stronger. On radio shows, callers argued non-stop. In markets and public places, people discussed it with passion. Online, thousands of comments appeared every minute. Some people quoted the senator word for word. Others attacked his position sharply. Some begged leaders to avoid words that could divide the country further. And many simply watched, waiting for the next person in power to respond. The weight of this moment was clear. When a high-ranking senator openly supports life imprisonment for a figure as controversial and influential as Nnamdi Kanu, it creates a ripple effect. That ripple quickly becomes a wave. And that wave moves through every part of the country: politics, communities, ethnic lines, and public opinion. The tension surrounding his statement was not just about one man. It was about what the statement symbolized. It touched on justice. It touched on freedom. It touched on the future of a movement. It touched on the unity of the nation. And it touched on the fear many people have about what could come next. Senator Bamidele may have spoken only a few lines, but those lines carried more impact than long speeches. He dropped his words into a national conversation that was already hot, and immediately, everything intensified. Tonight, Nigeria is not calm. The air feels tight. People are watching closely. And the senator's statement continues to echo across the country, louder than ever. The senator's words did not just make noise. They created fear. They created anger. They created confusion. Because when a top lawmaker openly supports life imprisonment for someone as influential as Nnamdi Kanu, it sends a message. A strong message. But the impact did not stop at reactions online. It went far deeper. The moment Senator Bamidele's statement began to spread, something changed in the political atmosphere. People could feel it. Leaders could feel it. The public could feel it. His words did not pass quietly. They carried weight, and that weight pressed down on every part of the national conversation. Within political circles, the senator's statement started new debates. Some lawmakers agreed with him privately but were too careful to say it openly. Others believed he went too far and feared his comment could spark more tension. Conversations behind closed doors became longer. Meetings became more serious. Everyone wanted to understand how this new wave of pressure would shape the next steps in the case. But outside the government, the ripple was even more intense. Ordinary citizens felt the shock deeply. To them, Senator Bamidele's position was not just an opinion. It was a sign that the fight over Nnamdi Kanu's future was entering a new phase. The senator did not speak like someone testing the waters. He spoke like someone ready to stand firm. And that firmness made many Nigerians uneasy, especially those who believed the matter should be handled with caution and balance. Some people felt the senator had added fire to a wound that had not healed. Others felt his words showed strength and direction. And many simply felt uncertain. They did not know what his statement could lead to. They did not know if more leaders would join him. They did not know if the government would respond. They did not know if this would bring more peace or more pressure. That uncertainty created silence. Not the kind of silence that brings peace, but the kind that brings tension. Communities that normally spoke loudly on political issues suddenly became careful. No one wanted to say the wrong thing. No one wanted to be misunderstood. Everyone waited to see where the wind was blowing. Even people who strongly supported Nnamdi Kanu became cautious. They knew the senator's words were not random. They understood the weight of a call for life imprisonment. It was not a small request. It was a final, permanent, irreversible form of punishment. And that is why many people felt fear. Fear that the case would take a harder direction. Fear that the calls for dialogue would be ignored. Fear that the political climate would become more heated. Fear that the country was moving toward another round of conflict and argument. Across Nigeria, different groups interpreted the statement in different ways. For some, it was a sign of rising political courage. For others, it was a sign of rising political aggression. For some, it was a push toward national stability. For others, it was a push toward more division. But no matter the angle, everyone agreed on one thing. The senator's words were heavy. And the heavier the words, the louder the silence around them. In the days that followed, journalists tried to question more leaders. Many avoided giving direct answers. They spoke carefully, as if one wrong sentence could open a new crisis. Government officials remained quiet, choosing not to add more fuel. Public figures gave vague statements. Nobody wanted to be the next person to spark controversy. This silence was not weakness. It was strategy. Because when a high-ranking senator supports the highest form of imprisonment for a figure as influential as Nnamdi Kanu, the stakes rise immediately. Every word becomes dangerous. Every response becomes sensitive. Every opinion becomes a possible headline. But behind the silence, everyone was thinking the same thing. What will this statement push the government to do? Experts warned that the senator's support for life imprisonment could shift public expectations. It could raise pressure on the justice system. It could influence future decisions. And it could awaken new political forces that had been quiet for months. Supporters of the senator praised him as a man of courage. They said he spoke for the safety of the nation. They said he was only telling the truth others were too scared to say. Opponents called him reckless. They said his statement could endanger peace efforts. They said his words were too sharp for a fragile moment. And in the middle of all this, Nigeria stood still, watching, listening, and waiting. Because when a powerful politician speaks in such a firm tone, the impact does not end with the words. The impact continues. It grows. It spreads. It shapes minds. It changes conversations. Senator Bamidele's statement did not close the chapter. It opened a new one. A bigger one. A louder one. And now, the country is bracing itself for whatever comes next. Now the question is no longer, what did he say? The real question is, what will happen next? Because once a senior lawmaker publicly supports life imprisonment for Nnamdi Kanu, the story cannot remain the same. It cannot stay quiet. It cannot return to normal. His statement has already changed the direction of the national conversation, and what comes next will shape more than just headlines. It will shape decisions. It will shape reactions. It will shape the country's political temperature. The first thing people are watching is the government. Everyone wants to know if the senator's words will influence the next steps. Will the executive branch move in a harder direction? Will they tighten their position? Or will they remain silent and pretend the comment did not shift anything? Silence can be powerful, but silence can also be dangerous when the public is tense. Many Nigerians believe the senator's statement might push the government to take a stronger stand. Not because they want to, but because they may feel pressured to match the seriousness of his tone. When a lawmaker openly calls for life imprisonment, it creates an expectation. And expectations can build into political force. But there is another possibility. That the government will choose caution. Because this is a sensitive case. A case that touches emotions, ethnic identity, national unity, and public trust. A case that can calm a country or shake it. Behind every political door, people are calculating the risks. Another question is how Nnamdi Kanu's supporters will respond. They have watched the case for many years. They have seen different government actions, different court orders, different political statements. But this new call for life imprisonment hits differently. It is not just a ruling. It is not just a rumor. It is a direct message from someone with legislative influence. Many fear that this could lead to new protests, new demands, or new confrontations. Others fear it could deepen divisions in the country, especially if more leaders begin to support Bamidele's position. And some fear it might affect the calls for a peaceful, negotiated solution, because once the punishment discussed becomes permanent, dialogue becomes harder. But not everyone sees danger. Some see a path forward. There are people who believe that this moment will force Nigeria to finally confront the full truth of the matter. They believe the senator's boldness will push the nation to openly discuss what justice truly means. They believe it will bring clarity, not confusion. They believe hard conversations are better than hidden tensions. For these citizens, what comes next is a chance to settle the case once and for all, without fear, without delay, and without emotional arguments. They believe that if the law is to be followed strictly, then the senator's call cannot be ignored. They say the country must protect itself. They say national security must come first. They say leadership must be firm, even when it is unpopular. But this belief is not shared by everyone. Many Nigerians insist that the country cannot survive another round of political and ethnic friction. They say the nation is tired. They say people want peace. They say harsh punishments create more anger, not solutions. And so, the tension grows. Activists, lawyers, analysts, and diplomats are all watching closely. International groups may also respond, because Nnamdi Kanu's case has long crossed Nigeria's borders. The world has been observing every move, every development, every statement. A call for life imprisonment might trigger new attention from outside the country. As the pressure builds, an important question begins to rise quietly in the background. Will this statement change the court's direction? Courts are expected to stand above political influence. They are meant to follow law, not emotion. But everyone knows that high-profile cases are never fully free from political forces. When a powerful lawmaker speaks loudly, the justice system feels the echo. And every echo has the potential to shift something, even if slightly. This is why the days ahead will be critical. Nigeria is entering a phase where every move matters. Every word matters. Every silence matters. For now, all eyes are on the key players. The government, the courts, political leaders, and the supporters on both sides. Will the senator double down on his statement? Will more lawmakers join him? Will peace advocates push back? Will the government stay silent or respond with force? Will the courts move faster, slower, or not at all? These questions will define the next chapter of Nigeria's political climate. And the truth is, no one can predict the outcome with certainty. But one thing is clear. Senator Bamidele has thrown his message into a burning national debate, and the fire has grown stronger. The entire country is watching, waiting, and wondering where this storm will move next. Because this is not just about one man. This is about justice, power, unity, and the future of Nigeria's political balance. Whatever comes next will shape the nation in a way that cannot be undone.